Welcome back, everybody, to Horror with Nadia. And today I'm talking about the 1979's Salem's Lot, directed by Tobe Hooper, based on the Stephen King novel of the same name. First came out as a miniseries, but now is, I believe, around 3 hours of a movie. And to me, it still holds up as one of the scariest vampire tales out there. But before we get into it, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and helping me get to that 500 sub mark by Halloween. Also, on the new Salem's Lot movie, which will be released October 3rd on Max, I will actually have a stream that day talking to other content creators, their thoughts on it. So make sure, again, you are subbed to get all that notification on future videos and streams. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get into Salem's Lot.
Go away. Go away!
Now, the story of Salem's Lot follows Ben Myers, who is a writer. He's played by David Soul in the 1979 adaptation. He's returning to his hometown of Jerusalem's Lot, where he hopes to draw inspiration from the infamous house called the Marston House. Now, the Marston House essentially is its own character, both in the novel and I would argue in the movie as well. It overlooks Jerusalem Lot and is considered to have an evil, haunting presence to it. So think of that house in your town that kids dare themselves to go ring the doorbell. It's the house that, nobody's going to go ask for a cup of sugar for. Now, the former resident there was a murderer. He murdered himself and his wife there, and the house seems to have haunted Ben all of his life. Now, as Ben has returned, he quickly discovers there's a sinister force that embodied by the vampire Kurt Barlow, played by Reggie Nalder, are preying on everyone in the town. So as the body count starts to rise, Ben teams up with a bunch of fellow townsfolk to confront the growing darkness plaguing the town. Now, this is a really simplified synopsis of it. There are many layers here with the townsfolk. I highly recommend you go check this movie out, especially before the new one is released.
Ben? Ben, Susan's in there!
Now, the movie excels in what I would say is oppressive atmosphere. Hooper, known for his Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise direction here, mixed with some of the description of the essence of the small town life, is just opposed against what I only can think of to describe it as lurking dread or death, lurking dead or death. Take whichever, especially with the Marston house in play. When there are scenes in the Marston house, it's utilizing its shadow, its silence to kind of help amplify the tension. I think it's a pretty comparable to the novel, as King does go deeper into the town's history and individual characters, providing more layered understanding to the evil in town. While the film is still condensing to a degree, you still are getting some rich backstory. And one thing I learned on a notable scene was cut from the film, involving the deep exploration of the town's founding, its dark history, which add layers to the community's fear and denial. So similar to in It with Derry, you get a lot of rich backstory to kind of help add layers and add that kind of sinisterness in these towns. And King is well known for this kind of stuff. Now, the characters seem very well rounded and very relatable. Ben is a compelling protagonist, grappling with his own personal demons as he confronts the supernatural. Supporting characters like Mark, who's a teen into horror and stuff, reminded me of me a lot of his, at that age. Susan, who's a love interest, adds some sort of depth to each representing different responses to fear and evil. The exploration of evil here, both in human and supernatural form, is the center of it. It delves into the impact of trauma, fear, collective denial of the townspeople, in which to me elevates the horror behind just standard jump scares. Now, the pacing is somewhat weak here and inconsistent in the first half of it. Some of the scenes go too long, while others don't give enough to help build any tension. But to me, getting over these hurdles pays off in the later half and is rewarding, especially once we meet the vampire Kurt Barlow. While the story is strong here in script form, and I do think it does the book justice, I can see some being turned off by the limitations of the special effects, but this is the 70s. I actually think Barlow's makeup design, vampire design, is more terrifying than some creature designs I've seen in the last 10 years. I still think it's terrifying with the presence of a being that has no moral compass. Its only outlook is to cause chaos and feed off literally the fear of humans, pure evil. And while there are some great IPs out there that continue the legacy of how sinister vampires can be, I think we've lost almost our sense of dread for these type of creatures in these movies due to them usually being the butt of jokes.
Look at me. Look.
All in all, Salem's Lot is a powerful adaptation of a King's book. I dare say it's one of the best. Its skillful blends horror with profound themes of human vulnerability. Despite the challenges of the time and its atmospheric storytelling, the character driven narrative really places this as a significant entry, in my mind, into the horror genre and has influenced countless films and TV shows that have followed. Thank you all who joined me in my review of 1979 Salem's Lot. Have you watched it? Will you watch it now? I highly recommend. It's one of my favorite vampire movies. And are you going to check out the new one? Leave me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, beautiful folks, stay spooky.